Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Let's Talk Automotive, episode 35 tonight. And in tonight's show, we have the latest news.
And then we're going to show you guys the review on the incredible BMW M8 competition that Vision
What a
did.
beast.
Oh, man, alive.
Our guests tonight, not just one, it's Edward and Caleb Cotterell, and we're going to talk about their mini IndyCar project.
And that is definitely something to watch because it is really, really remarkable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, and then game time, Peter.
Yeah, shame time.
Shame time for you.
Yeah, terrible part of the
In tonight's How Things Work, we're going to talk all about windscreens.
And then we're going to end off with my favorite part of the evening, Tappet of the Week.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Let's Talk Automotive. So, Peter, we've got somebody sitting here, and what's that about?
Well, we're going to find out, but it looks, from the stuff that we got on the desk, it's going to be pretty awesome.
All right.
Welcome, Heinrich.
Thanks. Nice to be here, and we're going to give some stuff away tonight. So
Lekker.
But I just want to first...
Let's first talk about your prediction on the rugby last weekend. Shark supporter supporting the Bulls and getting it right.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as I said, you can't fault Jake White. I think he's one of the best coaches in the world, and he certainly showed it.
Proved it again. Heinrich didn't watch the game because he was probably either fishing or mowing the lawn because he's a Stormer supporter.
Everybody has their problems.
You know what? A couple of months back, we saw the last time the Bulls won the Currie Cup was in 2009. So the guys in Cape Town said, let's slack off, let's give them something this year. But next year we'll be back.
You sound just like a Liverpool supporter.
All right, but let's get the show on the road, and let's get into this week's news. So Heinrich du Preez joined us. He's the chairman of the Cobra Club of South Africa, and he said that he wanted to come share some news with us. So what better place to do it as in the news segment? So Heinrich, thanks and welcome.
Yeah, I remember a couple of months back I spoke to you guys, and I was elected chairman in 2020, COVID year. So COVID year for all car clubs is tough.
Yeah.
But I can proudly say that our club has grown our membership to about 100%, last year. So we've got exciting stuff happening in our club, and a lot of motor clubs only allow you to be a part of it if you own their car.
Yes.
We've got so many fans, guys that aspire to be Cobra drivers from a very young age, and a lot of them retire without having a car. And we want to welcome those guys into the club because we're all for the brand.
Yes.
Carol Shelby, long ago decided to put a monster engine in a small car, and that's what we are all about. We like to rev our cars, we like to spin our cars, and when you see one of those signs that show you that it's a wet road and the car will skid, if a car pulls us off after we've made a burnout, we say that sign said made a burnout. That's how we roll, So we're passionate about the cars, we're passionate about the fans, and so last year we launched the Cobra Shop. The Cobra Shop is under license with Shelby in America, and we are allowed to use a certain stuff to brand T-shirts like the shirt I've got on.
Yep.
We can, thank you very much. I'm going to give it to you after the show.
Thank you.
I'll go and make it. So we do all kinds of fun stuff. We've got hip flask, we've got lighters, we've got mugs. If you want to buy somebody in your life that's a Cobra fan something special, the best place to go is the Cobra Shop. And one of the coolest things that I think will attract a lot of new members to our club is that we give you more back than the yearly membership fee. Our yearly membership fee is only 735 Rand.
735.
Yeah.
Okay. And you've got a loyalty program that you...
So we've just launched our loyalty program. So we've got 4 partners on board already. The first one is Tiger Wheel and Tire. They offer all our members with their loyalty card 20% discount. Now, with a Cobra, because the cars are not your daily commuting cars, they do not change tires regularly, but as a Cobra Club owner, you can take any vehicle to Tiger Wheel and Tire, get 20% off.
Yeah.
For COVID purposes, we teamed up with one of the best wine estates in South Africa that can now send you wine via courier and in the post.
I'm really? Where do I sign up? How do we sign up?
Yeah, so we've got Lavinia Wine Estate in Cape Town. They're one of our partners who offer you a discount for any of their products that you buy. We've got Bondi Blue, the famous sunglass people. Yeah. So they offer you discounts. And then we also have Swag. Swag do predominantly golf clothing, but they also do casual wear. And Swag, so we've got these 4 partners. So if you use your card during the year with these partners, you'll have more than 735 Rand back.
Absolutely.
That
sounds like a pretty good deal to me.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you very much for coming to share that with us, Heinrich. So what we're basically asking the viewers out there is to come and join the Cobra Club of South Africa.
Yeah, that's exactly that. So we're going to offer in a competition format 2 full memberships to 2 fans or guys who've got cars. Then you can come and join us. We are yearly we go to Swartkops for cars in the park. We take all our cars out there. We do honorary lap with all our cars. So, it's nice to see 20, 30 cars at a time. And we let the public experience
And we've been
that.
to some of those events at Swartkops. It's unbelievable to have all those Cobras there on the track. It's really a sight to behold. Okay, so let's talk about what you guys brought with. I see there's some goodies here on the table. Peter, you can show.
Yes, so
they're nicely packed.
So that's the box. So this is a fuel lighter, a liquid fuel lighter with some of the fuel in it over there. Then we've got my favorite one, this hip flask over here. That looks awesome. And then you got a mug here as well.
Yeah, the mug and the hip flask go together, so you can put your stuff in there. We call it COVID coffee.
COVID coffee.
You put your stuff
in there. Coffee. I love it. And then a nice coaster. And a Cobra coffee.
Yeah, Cobra coffee.
That's it.
And then there's 2 caps up for grabs as well.
Yeah. So we do a combo where you can get a combo set, which includes the hip flask, the lighter, the cap, the mug and the coaster. We've got caps, so we've got a lot of things. And all we need the guys to do is literally send us an email. Just send us an email with your name, and we'll pick the first one, the 10th one, the 100th one, the 1000th one.
Oh, love it.
We'll pick them like that. So we'll just randomly pick people and we'll give them these gifts. We're a family. The Cobra Club's a family more than a car club. And we want to encourage people to join our club and join our movement.
Okay, so for this competition, you want them to send an email to where? What's the email address?
Yeah, so if you go on the Cobra Shop website, our email is info@cobrashop.co.za. So very simple. So info@cobrashop, and all you do, just send us your name and your email. That's
name, email, and let's talk automotive.
Let's do that. Let's talk automotive.
Hashtag let's talk automotive.
That's it.
Yeah, and whoever can guess Fanie's birthday, we'll give you all of these things.
It's on the 17th of December, guys. Okay. All right. That's the end of the news. Thank you so much for joining us and bringing us some good news. I think this is something that you and I should definitely do.
We definitely got to join this. I mean, we actually can't be considered proper petrol heads until we've joined.
I've actually sent you the registration forms and the bank details just before I came. So thank you very much.
Awesome. Love it. Nice to see you again, Heinrich. Always good to see you.
I think let's get on to probably the most anticipated car that we reviewed last year.
Wow.
The BMW M8 Competition. Ladies and gentlemen, this absolutely blew our socks off. We really enjoyed this car.
No doubt. I think one of the best ones that we've done so far.
Let's get into that review.
Welcome to Let's Talk Automotive, and in today's review we are truly blessed to be able to have the M8 Competition. Vish, welcome. How are you doing?
I'm good. I just didn't want to get out of this car. I think you felt the way I was feeling. I was like, this is my motorbike on four wheels.
It looks sensational, so we can't wait to have a drive in this. I must just say before we get on with this that your shirt is so dazzling with those stripes that I'm getting a little bit hypnotic.
But are you getting car sick?
I'm getting a little bit car sick just watching you, but I mean, maybe you can take us through a few of the features of this vehicle. So starting off over here, I mean, these are genuine carbon fiber.
It's actual carbon fiber.
Yeah?
It's not pretend carbon fiber and stick on. It's actual carbon fiber. You pointed out 29 radiators that we have.
There's a lot of radiators on this. I mean, for the first time, you know, I've seen proper radiators on the intakes over here.
Did you notice the M8 Competition's got these little tips and tricks which just differentiates from a normal M8? In fact, the carbon fiber is one of them. This sort of metallic black grille here. There's just little bits that, as a fundi of cars, you'd appreciate. Not to mention the 40 kilowatts plus extra torque that you're sitting with this car's performance, which you'll feel in a small amount of time.
Other things that you can see, this is a serious performance car, if we go to the brakes, for example. So we've got proper carbon ceramic brakes over here. So Vish, question, what is the difference between ceramic brakes and carbon ceramic brakes?
This one I know. Ceramic brakes, cold, not as effective. Carbon ceramic, immediate response.
In fact, with the ceramic brakes, never mind not effective, not effective
oh,
at
yes,
all.
cold.
So, yeah, so you'll have an accident. So these you can work from the get-go.
Can I value test you? Pure carbon fiber, how much?
Phew, it's difficult to say, but I mean, I know how difficult it is and how expensive it is to actually make proper carbon fiber products.
Carbon.
Yeah, carbon fiber. I'm just going to say hectically expensive, but put me out of my misery.
42,000 rands.
42,000 rands, going once.
Going twice?
No,
and let's move on. Okay, so more bits that obviously the competition pack gives us proper exhaust. It looks the part. We've got more fiber carbon sitting over here. I think just from an overall finish, you've been 840D, sexy back.
Yeah, this is a lot more chiseled actually with the additional sort of...
Did you notice it's slightly wider?
Yeah.
It actually gives the feel and effect of something that's more aggressive.
Yeah. Now you can see the difference here in this vehicle. You can pick up that this is a serious performance car.
So, shall we go drive?
Absolutely. I think, you know, one of my career objectives in life was I wanted to be a millionaire playboy.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is the reason why, because millionaire playboys get to have these toys. It's
mildly depressing.
You know what the exhaust note reminds me of?
An orgasm?
Well, it's actually a little bit more sinister. The exhaust note, actually, unfortunately, you know those spy stories where spies get activated?
Yes.
Now, the exhaust note on this car is activating me to go and hunt down environmentalists.
Oh, yes, because of their absolute disregard for petrol heads like us.
Yes, I mean, but come on, guys, you're missing out.
Apart from the M mode, which can take the car from road to sport to track, we're also sitting with a situation where you actually can select with those lovely little red buttons there.
Yes, so the M1 and the M2.
Yeah, so if you press M1 now, it'll engage you into a Sport
feel
Plus
that
mode.
immediately. I mean, I didn't change position of my foot on the pedal and it immediately changed to
And
nothing.
what happens is you've got another world first for BMW. You've got a brake pedal feel. So if you in M1, you as an expert driver would feel the difference immediately.
Okay, so let's... Yeah, you can feel that. So
yes,
there's actually a bit more effort required to get a bit of action out of the brake pedal, which is what you want.
Yes, you want engagement. So the other changes were, it's permanent four-wheel drive, but it's also got a four-wheel drive sport mode, which allows you a bit more movement. The challenge is that this car is so fast that a little bit more movement could end you up on a sidewalk.
I think there's something that needs to be said about that, and that is that no matter how good the traction control systems are, they cannot defeat the laws of physics.
Absolutely.
So I think people are still going to be very, very careful. Although there is assistance, it's not a bulletproof.
No, yeah, it's not something that will save you. It's what we spoke about with traction control on superbikes. It is there as a counter. It's there as a safety measure. It's not there for you to test your own limits. The challenge you against are presented with is, I mean, this car cruises at 120 and you're not even breaking out a sweat.
Yeah.
What I did find though is that there's a level of expertise needed for this car, which, like a superbike, if you're not trained how to use it, we sit with the situation of, oh goodness. And of course, I forgot to mention that with the four-wheel drive, you can swap to full rear-wheel drive. Now,
yes,
can you imagine 750 Newton meters of torque just on those two tires?
Yeah, and I want to say this out loud. I think that when we start to get to the vehicles of this kind of power and this kind of capability, I almost think there needs to be another classification of driver's license that needs to be issued.
Like the superbikes. Are you impressed yet?
No, I'm not. Again, I'm not speaking to you. I'm done.
Four wheels, superbiker performance.
Oh, I mean, it was just really, really incredible.
So, I mean, put this into context. Sub 3 seconds, 2 tons of metal. I mean, you've done this. You've done proper fast driving. This in the right hands, what's going to catch this?
Very little, actually. And I think the 3 cars that we spoke about during the test drive are probably it.
Yeah, GT63S, Mercedes-Benz,
Yeah.
and the Porsche 911 Turbo.
Yep.
Everything
well, the 2
else
cars
goes.
that we spoke about.
Well, yeah, we were in the third one.
Yeah.
But something you pointed out, which I didn't even know, so now I'm like grinning even more, is how fast this top comes down. So
Yeah.
should we demonstrate it?
And we can do it globally with the key.
Yes. I think I just got to keep it depressed for a bit. It opened, and there we go.
This is very cool.
How cool is this? As a party trick when you're leaving from the restaurant.
We can see how much space is actually removed
Yeah, you're not going to
compared
have
to the
a,
coupe.
Yeah, you're not going to have this as a boot. And we're done.
Or rear seat space, I suppose. That's why Fanie battled to fit in here. So the Fanie fit on this was a -1.
Yeah, but I think we're going to move into what this vehicle looks like on the inside. The cream leather, the Bauer Wilkins sound system that thumps. Cape Town car, or should we say coastal car?
Yeah, that's the debate, whether you want this. I mean, we drove around a little bit just now with the roof down, and in traffic it was a bit awkward with all the beggars coming up.
Yeah, look, it can be a bit strenuous.
But I think as a beach cruiser, wow.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. So you've got heated seats plus cooling seats. One of the biggest differences, which we pointed out earlier, was the M mode, which takes the vehicle directly from road to track to sport. It double checks it, and then obviously your driving aids get reduced. We also showed the M1 mode, which is pre-programmed to give you stiffness, steering control, engine response through its various modes. And the M2, it takes you straight to track. It obviously it asks for you for a confirmation, because
Yes.
suddenly imagine mid-corner, you press this thing and suddenly all your traction aids are off, and yeah, you're going to have a bit of a pavement crossover. The rest of it is pretty much standard BMW. We've got autonomous driving, the usual adaptive cruise control. I think overall, they've blinged it enough. At least it's not a glowing dash like my shirt.
Sure, Fish. This is going to be a tough one, actually. You know, we've said before that when we give our ratings, it's per segment. And so...
I'm just laughing.
And our ratings out of 10 only.
Yeah, that's my issue. But like, as I said to you earlier, 2021, do I need a new house? Just saying.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think these seats could recline enough.
And we're done. The cats could be in the boot. They can chill out. They'd be happy.
But on a serious note, how are we going to rate this car? It's
So give
difficult.
me your 10 out of your 10. Where would you place this?
I think this is a last of its kind, to be honest, before we move.
Oh, no.
more
Please,
seriously
please.
into the
I don't
electric
wanna,
domain.
No, don't talk. Because just that throb, please. Peter, that throb of that engine, how would you ever replace that sort of ecstasy?
You can't, and that is why my rating is off the scales on this. I think it deserves more than 10 out of 10, and that's kind of where I'm going to leave it.
Okay. Yeah, sadly, I would have to also give it an 11 out of 10, because this is just absolute supercar performance for a fraction of the price.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, that's it, ladies and gentlemen.
And until next time, we'll see you on Let's Talk Automotive.
That was definitely one of my favorite cars to drive ever in my life.
I mean, I've been watching some of the James Bond movies on the pop-up channel.
Yeah.
And I mean, those cars compared to this are just archaic. And I think James Bond would be incredibly proud if he had the M8 Competition. It's that good a car.
I agree. And my 2 daughters went around the block in that car. So my 10-year-old Jessica Scholes reckons that's going to be her first car.
Well, good luck to you, Daddy.
All right, guys, let's get on with the show, and let's get into this week's guest. Hello, guys. It's Edward, and I think that's Caleb, but looks like a mini Stig to me.
Is that Caleb?
Is that
Hello,
Caleb?
I don't know who it is. No idea who it is.
Well, welcome to the both of you. I'll tell you what, this is a segment that we have really been looking forward to airing, because I got to tell you, both of you, you blew our socks off when we came out to visit you when we came through to the workshop. So yeah, we can't wait to get into it.
I think Caleb should take off his helmet so that we can see what a 12-year-old Stig looks like. Yes. Well done, Caleb. Welcome to the show, bud.
Hello.
All right. So the reason why we're talking to you guys tonight is that you guys are doing a little something called the mini IndyCar project.
Well, I actually cannot begin to even describe the complexity behind this project. It's more than a project. It's like a science experiment.
Yes.
And I mean, we'll get into some of that, and we've got some great visuals of what Caleb and Edward are up to. But I mean, after visiting you guys, I think the number one question I still have for you, Edward, is what possessed you to do this?
Peter, I often ask myself the same question. It looked a lot less complicated on paper, and yeah. But if the motivation behind it was very simple. Caleb's obviously a little racing driver. He spends most of his life on a racetrack. Got loads of trophies behind to show the success he's had, and his ambition in life is two things. What do you want to be? You say.
I want to be an engineer, plus I want to get a triple crown.
Wow. Okay, so no. I mean, I love it. No, your goals are not small at all. That's awesome
and very specific.
No, not at all.
Yeah, he specifically wants the triple crown. So I thought, how do we combine our passions into one, and how do we create something that's very unique and gives him an opportunity in his life to be exposed to very advanced engineering, number one. Number two, gives him an opportunity to drive something that's been designed in a very specific way. And gives him an opportunity to drive something that he built. And so that was the motivation behind it. And thirdly, and honestly, it's to spend as much time with my son as I can. So, sure. And we do a lot of that. I want to strangle him most of the time, but outside of that, we spend a lot of time together.
I mean, before you get to your question, all I can say is thank goodness Caleb doesn't like rockets. Because then Elon Musk, I tell you, he'd be in big trouble.
Okay, so for the viewers at home, guys, Edward and Caleb, please explain to us what this is that obviously you're building something, but for the oaks sitting at home listening to us talk now, what are you guys doing exactly?
Okay, so the inspiration behind it was to recreate the most accurate version or our interpretation of a IndyCar, 2008, 2018, 2019 IndyCar, using all the latest technologies, so carbon fiber, magnesium, titanium, aluminium alloys, everything that they would use, we do the same thing obviously on a much smaller scale, because we don't have unlimited budgets. And we're creating an IndyCar that is 3/4 scale of what a real one would be. And inside of the design, we have our own engineering, our own suspension, our own geometry, our own drivetrain, our own fabric layup for the carbon fiber tub.
So this car's being specifically built for Caleb to drive, to fit.
Well, yeah. You think you're still going to fit?
Maybe.
He's grown like 5 centimeters over the last 6 months, so I'm getting a little bit worried. But to answer your question, yes, it's to fit him. If he stops growing, he'll still fit.
Okay, cool.
I mean, Edward, the engineering behind this is just insane. I cannot begin to describe to people what we witnessed when we were with you there. And I mean, this is the domain of serious teams, race teams that have sort of hundreds of staff members and engineers all over the place, and access to the best sort of resources. This is you and Caleb building this thing to the same specification as these teams. That's the first observation, really. But the second thing that leads on from that is you must have had a lot of people come and tell you that there is absolutely no ways that you're going to get this right. And I probably would have been one of them, by the way.
Yeah, so I think, there was a lot of people that sat me down and said, Edward, this is not a good idea. And my approach to it is simple. If we fail, I haven't failed at all. I've still spent countless hours with my son. And whatever we
Oh, I love
failed doing it together. And so, it's one of those approaches. And I mean, he can testify. He'll tell you he's learned how to lay carbon fiber. He's learned fabric of carbon fiber. He's learned the tensile strength. And, we've taken everything we've done, understanding that he's inside this car, and we've put it through testing. So it's not like we've just made something and then hoped it will work. It's taken us a year to develop the tub, one whole year from start to finish. And most of that year was spent doing fabric and analysis on the different compounds of weaves and different types of carbon fiber. I mean, we run carbon titanium in our tub.
Yeah,
as an
incredible.
example.
And I mean, Caleb, just going to you, you must have gone on an incredible learning curve. I don't know if there's many engineers in this country that know what you know. And there you are, 12 years old, really getting involved in some seriously technical stuff. So what are some of the coolest things that you've learned from this project?
Some of the coolest things I've learned. Some of the coolest things I've learned by far was learning how to make carbon fiber and learning how to strip bikes. We actually stripped a bike. We stripped a bike engine, a Honda bike engine off the bike completely.
Amazing. And of course, this is. You said earlier that you want to become an engineer, and I mean, what an unbelievable grounding that you've got. So, and not many people at the age of 12 know what they want to do. So clearly, that's kind of the career for you. You've set your heart on that.
Yeah, I've always really loved cars ever since I was small. I know that for a fact. So I always thought I might as well start engineering cars. So that's when I first decided I wanted to be an engineer.
I'll tell you what, this interview could be really golden. I mean, I think in a few years' time, we're either going to have one of the best car designers in the world, or one of the best race drivers in the world, or both.
For the first time in my life ever, that I just had this thought in my head that Caleb could actually be a pretty good son-in-law, because my
You know what they say about racing drivers at women. I don't think that's good.
I love it. Great comeback.
Edward, I've got a question for you, Edward. Obviously, with building a car like this and taking on a project like this, you've obviously got some sort of engineering background or degree yourself.
No, I don't. Not at all.
So how do you go into something like this? Without the qualifications, I mean, surely that it's an impossible task, basically.
Guys, so if I tell you what we did, so mainly on the encouragement of my wife, and thank the Lord she encouraged me to do it, because otherwise I probably would have failed after 1 week. We got a professional engineer involved, and we got a couple of guys from the University of Melbourne involved in Australia. And so the car has been designed by professionals. The car has had a lot of engineering put into it by professionals, and there's a lot of fundamentals used off of the actual Indy cars to create this Indy car. That's the first thing. And the second thing is, as we started this journey, what happened is people started reaching out to us, and we had engineers from Williams reach out to us, and he's become a friend of our channel and a friend of our YouTube channel as well. And he messages me and he said, "Look, Ed, here's my cell phone number. If you need advice, please reach out to me." And he was fundamental in the approach. He was the engineer for the tub, coincidentally, and so he gave us a lot of advice. And based on his advice, we were actually able to test a lot of the compounds, and we failed. Some of the compounds we built actually failed terribly, until we found the compound that could take 4.8 tons of impact without crushing itself. So I mean, this tub can take over almost 5 tons worth of impact.
I mean, that was going to be one of the questions that we were going to ask. Is in terms of the safety, obviously, is a number one priority for you and Caleb. And so, how do you test for the sort of the structural integrity of the tub and other components? How do you guys go about testing that?
So technology is quite advanced. I think that's been the big thing here to learn, for me at least, is that these computer programs are amazing. They throw out and they spit out designs at you, and you test those designs to see if they work in the real world. But saying that, we were also fortunate enough to get hold of a fabric layup schedule directly from Dallara, and we were able to see what their layup compounding was, and we replicated, for the most part, very similar compound layups. different grammage of carbon, different types of carbon, all those types of things to try and get to a position where the pieces that we were testing wouldn't fail. So to give you an idea, the piece, when I say a piece failed, it took 2.9 tons, and that for us was a fail. But let me tell you something, an impact at 2.9 tons is massive. That's not a small impact. A car that weighs 350 kilograms has a 140 horsepower engine in there. You're talking about a 350, 400 brake horsepower per ton car. I mean, that thing with full ground effect that's going to be massively quick, probably too quick for him to drive. Well, he doesn't think so, but I'm convinced.
I was going to say, he disagrees with you. We'll see. I think we've got time for one more question.
Yeah, we've got one more question.
So, I mean, really what we've seen, and obviously people that are following you, and I think we need to also encourage our viewers to go and follow your page and your YouTube channel.
Yes.
But have you had any of some of the race teams come knocking on your door and asking you for advice?
We actually have had one team that contacted us and asked us what we were doing and how we were creating the safety cell or the monocog, and asked if they could come have a look, and we invited them. They came and have a look. So yeah,
awesome. That is incredible. Well, gentlemen, I got to say, I don't know if there's anything further from your side.
No, I want to just talk to Caleb quickly. Caleb, you were at the track this afternoon practicing. Tell me, how did you go this afternoon, bud?
At first, it took us a while to get back on pace at Fanie because it's been a while since I've been there. Okay. Especially since I moved to a new chassis, a Cosmic. Okay. Same like this, same brand from the suit I'm wearing.
Yes.
Plus, we got a new trainer. His name is Neil.
Okay.
We were struggling at the first, and then on the last session, I managed to get to my 55s.
Awesome. While he was talking about the suit, Caleb, we've got some photos and we've got a video, if Fritz can find it there, of you in your racing suit, not the one that you're wearing at the moment. Tell us a little bit quickly about that special suit that you got going there.
This is actually a brand new suit.
Not that.
No. I'm talking about the Jensen button. Yes.
Oh, the Jensen button suit.
Yes.
My dad found it online when I was busy searching for a new suit for me, because I outgrew most of my suits in a couple months, really.
Yeah.
So we just got it tailored, and got some Nomax cotton. And
where's it from?
It's from a Honda team.
Yeah. So it's an original Formula One suit. It was one of the race drivers used it. That's an actual Formula One suit that we tailored down to go with the Honda theme, because we're obviously running a Honda engine and Honda everything. We like doing Indy.
Yeah. That's amazing.
You know what? I also got to just maybe for the sake of the views, explain just how heavy that suit is.
Yeah.
It's heavy.
It is quite heavy. I was quite surprised.
Yeah.
Well, just quickly on that, he insisted he wanted to wear it one of his practice days at Benoni, and it was scorching hot. He got in the suit, and after about 2 laps, he came off and said he can't race in it. It was too hot. He needs to take it off immediately.
It just shows what the Formula One boys have to go through. So, Caleb, that's what you've got to look forward to, is wearing those hot suits, and also, I suppose, the hot women that go with racing. So, I can't say I feel sorry for you. But listen, gentlemen, I've got to tell you, this has been a real treat. We wish you all the best. We're going to be following you closely, and I hope this is not the last time that we have you on the show. So all the best, and
absolutely
look forward to seeing you next time.
No. So Peter's trying to get out of Peter's trying to get out of game time by saying goodbye, but he's not going to do that.
Foiled again.
Okay, guys, I've explained to you what's going to happen next. This is game time. All right, Caleb and Edward. So how this game works is we're going to show you a partial of a racing car tonight, an iconic racing car. If you guys recognize the car, please, one of you just make a noise, shout your name, and then I'll come to you to see if you're correct. There's 7 cars, best out of 7 wins. Peter actually won last week. He's 3rd in 35 episodes.
And that's why it's been raining for a week.
That's why it's been raining for 2 weeks. So hopefully you guys get all these. And here we go. Viewers at home as well, please, you guys can play along. If you have the answer, just comment in the post.
Or send me a WhatsApp.
Or send Peter a WhatsApp. All right, guys, here's the first one.
Caleb.
Caleb.
Oh, here we go.
Caleb, what is that?
I think that is a McLaren MP4.
Absolutely correct, bud. Absolutely correct. Well done. Well done. This is going to be interesting.
This is going to be my youngest
Yes. All right, here comes the second one.
Edward.
Edward, what is that?
It looks like a Ferrari P something, maybe a P18.
Oh, can I guess?
Yeah.
Peter?
Yeah.
If I can get it, will I get half marks?
I'll give you half a point, yeah?
P4.
Correct. So I'm going to give you guys each half a point. Okay,
I was
I'm going to
close.
give you half a point. You were very close. All right, let's go to the third one.
Peter.
Edward.
You know what?
Edward
I'll give that
Edward
because
was first.
there is a delay.
There's a delay, so I think it must have been Edward.
Yeah.
Edward, what is that?
Come on, guys. That's the Tyrrell three. That's the Tyrrell. Come on, it's a
That's
6-wheeler
correct.
Tyrrell.
And you know,
That's correct.
Jody Scheckter actually drove
Yes.
that Tyrrell.
Yeah. All right, so it's 2.5 to half a point at the moment, guys. So this is going exactly as planned. And here comes the next one.
Edward.
Peter.
Oh, definitely Edward. Edward, what is that?
Ferrari F2002.
Absolutely correct. Beautiful car, one of my favorites.
Seeing as Edward got it right, it probably is your favorite now.
Okay, so we have got 3 to go. Let's see the next one.
Edward.
Peter.
Edward, definitely first. Definitely.
really?
First.
Really?
Definitely.
So that is a Williams FW14.
Actually, don't you have a model?
I think you guys, don't you have a model in the garage of that
I do. I have that exact car. I'm busy building.
Yes, I saw that. All right, guys. So
This
is
game's
all-
rigged, I tell you.
It's all over. It's all over. Well done, Caleb. But we've got 2 more to go. So let's drill him. Let's give him half a point, and that's it. Let's get the next one on.
Peter.
Edward.
Oh, I have to go to Peter because he was like very quick on this one. What is that?
That is a Lotus 72, and I think Emerson Fittipaldi. Not Emerson. What's the American guy that raced?
I don't know, Pete, but you're not going to get more points
But
for
anyway,
giving me
Lotus
that
72.
information. You're right on the call. Well done, you got another point. And here comes the last one, guys.
Edward.
It's a difficult one. I'll be impressed. What is this, Edward?
This is the Lamar car from the Porsche Lamar car.
You're right.
Okay, but-
I'm going to give
okay,
you half
Peter,
a point.
if I can get half. That's the 956 Porsche.
You're right, Pete. It's a 956. So I'm going to give you guys half a point. So Peter gets 2, and you guys are 4, 5. 5-2. Well done. Well done, guys. Thanks
He
for
loves
making
it.
my
He
day.
loves it.
Well done, guys. Well done,
We're
Caleb.
beat by a 12-year-old, Peter.
I know. I mean, the shame is going to live with me for a long time.
Edward and Caleb, thank you so much for joining us on Let's Talk Automotive.
Thanks for
It's
having
an
us, guys.
absolutely an honor to have you on the
Yeah,
show.
it was a real treat. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
Thanks. Cheers.
Okay, cheers.
All right, Peter, it's time to get on to the next segment, and it's called How Things Work. And tonight, very interestingly, we're going to talk about the most boring subject I could think of, windscreens.
I disagree.
Really?
Wait until you see the segment.
Is it going to be good?
I think so.
All right. This segment is proudly brought to you by Suzuki Auto South Africa.
Welcome to this week's episode on How Things Work, and in today's segment we're going to be taking you through the remarkable technology that is behind the windscreens that we have on our vehicles. If we take a few steps back in history and have a look at what cars used in the early days, well, first of all, initially they had nothing. There were no windscreens, so you were subject to the elements and the wind. And it was really only in the 1915s that we got to see laminated windscreens that were proper safety glass laminated windscreens. Prior to that, we just had single sheets of glass, and you can imagine just how dangerous those were if they shattered. there were a lot of injuries that were caused with drivers and passengers alike. So in 1915, we saw the first laminated windscreens and safety glass coming on, and that provided a lot of structural strength for the glass. The disadvantage was that the cellulose that they used as the laminate did start to discolor and go a yellow over a period of time, so it didn't have any UV protection. But as technology marched on and the processes got better, we started to see some amazing technologies coming through with the plastic laminates that were being used. And of course, these laminates these days provide an absolutely crystal clear view through the glass that doesn't fade over time, and they also offer the drivers protection from UV light. So how is laminated glass manufactured? Well, it's simple to explain, but I promise you much more difficult in practice. But essentially what we do is we take two normal pieces of glass and we heat each of those up to a high temperature so that we can actually place them on a mold, which is called a layer, and that is pressed into shape so that we get the shape of the windscreen that we're creating. We then take those two pieces of glass that are now shaped and we add a plastic laminate. Now it's more than just plastic, it's a very complex polymer that is used, and that polymer is then glued onto each surface of the glass. Once that's taken place, we then take that whole assembly and we put it into a very special oven called an autoclave. Now an autoclave not only will heat up the glass and the laminates so that it bonds nicely, but it is also a pressure vessel, so we heat and pressurize the process. And the result is, at the end of the day, a very, very strong piece of laminated glass. Now that glass is designed to offer passengers and drivers of vehicles a number of different protections. So the first is obviously from standard wind and a few objects that might be flung up against the windscreen like stones and rocks. And there's also certain degrees of protection from penetration that goes into the glass. So if you have a stick or a branch or something like that that gets flung up, it will offer protection in terms of ingressing into the cabin. But another thing that you might not realize is that the glass actually provides structural strength to the vehicle chassis itself. And I'm going to illustrate it with this chips tin that we've got over here. So in a frontal impact, the glass provides as much as 40% of the structural rigidity, and in a rollover, as much as 60% of the structural rigidity. And I'm going to illustrate it by doing the following. So this is my windshield, and this is my chassis. Without the windshield, you can see that it's quite easy for me to actually bend the chassis over here. But if I put this on, now I've got my windscreen in place, it's actually quite tough to bend this. So it's no exaggeration to say that it is a critical safety feature. And that brings me on to the next point in terms of how can we repair a windscreen, what causes some of the cracks, and is it safe to drive a vehicle with a cracked windscreen? So let's have a look at the type of cracks and damages that we can pick up on our windscreens. The most obvious is if we get a stone chip, but you would have noticed that it depends on where that stone impacts on your windscreen as to the kind of damage that it causes. So we know that if the stone impacts somewhere in the middle of the windscreen, it usually stays as the form of a small crack. Now we get four types of crack. So we get a bullseye, which is a nice deep stone chip. We get a crater, which is sort of semicircular in shape. We get a half moon, and we get a star shape, or a combination of those. And it depends on what type of crack that we get in terms of how we're going to fix that. But most of the windscreen aftermarket fitment centers have a process where they can fix these small chips and cracks. But if the chip occurs on the extremity of the windscreen, we've noticed that that crack propagates very, very quickly and it forms a very large crack. Why is that? Well, simply put, when we apply heat in our process of manufacturing the glass, what it does is it pushes all the stresses that are locked into the glass to the extremities of the glass. So all these stresses are in this outer band of the glass. And if we chip even a small part of that windscreen with a very small chip, all those stresses are unleashed in one go and the crack propagates very, very quickly. Now, as we've said before, the structural integrity of the windscreen
is critical. It's providing as much as 60% of your stiffness of your chassis. So if your windscreen is cracked, then there's absolutely no doubt that you need to replace that windscreen as soon as possible. However, if the chips are small enough, you can get them fixed. There is one proviso though, and that is if those cracks and chips occur within the driver's range of the windscreen, by law they're not allowed to be fixed, and unfortunately you'll have to go back and get yourself a new windscreen again. So in addition to the stress raisers that exist on the perimeter of the windscreen causing the windscreen to crack and propagate that crack, there are other ways that cracks will grow on a windscreen. So for example, harsh vibrations from driving on a very rough road or impacting on a pothole is obviously going to add stress to the windscreen and cause that crack to propagate. Another way is that if we have extreme temperature differences between the outside and the inside of the vehicle, that'll cause obviously the crack to propagate even quicker. Another way is if we pour hot water on, and that's again going to cause those extreme temperature differences between out and inner part of the windscreen. So on a very, very cold day in winter, if your windscreen has got ice on it, don't be tempted to pour hot water on. The best way to get rid of the ice on your windscreen is simply to take a plastic credit card and to scrape it off and get rid of the ice that way. But the most interesting way for me is with a process called dissociative chemisorption. Bit of a mouthful, but it's a very simple process that occurs on an atomic level. And this happens with the free electrons and the free orbitals that exist with the glass and the water itself. And what happens is as these electrons move between the free electrons and the orbitals, they start to create a shearing effect. And that shearing effect actually causes the crack to grow 20 times faster than normal. So that's it on windscreens and the technology behind them and some of the ways that we can maintain our windscreens. And we look forward to seeing you on future segments of How Things Work.
Does it again.
So Fanie, what's that word again?
Disassociated.
Chemisorption.
Chemisorption.
Nearly there. Yeah, I love that.
So that brings us to the end of How Things Work, and that was proudly brought to you by Suzuki Auto South Africa. Thank you very much. Always very interesting.
It's a great pleasure. I love bringing these insights to the consumer out there. Hopefully we're not making it too complex. That's not the point. We're trying to keep it simple, but yeah.
Awesome. All right, so now your favorite part of tonight's show, and it's called Tappet of the Week. So Peter, again, what can go wrong here? We've got a Subaru on a dyno.
It looks pretty flimsy, that dyno, I've got to tell you.
Yeah.
I don't know why people raise vehicles when they're dynoing them. They should do it on the floor.
What can possibly go wrong?
Oh! Right. Well, at least the four-wheel drive system works well on that. I mean, that pulled that right off that rig.
I can't deal with that.
I've got some lighter fluid here. That's maybe the prize that we can give them. They can pour it over the car, light it up, and get rid of it that way. There's more imaginative ways to do it.
I agree. Right, guys, that brings us to the end of the show. Thank you very much for Edward and Caleb joining us. Heinrich du Preez from the Cobra Club SA. Remember that competition, guys. So all you need to do is email them at info. Was it at Cobra Shop? Yes. Yeah.
Info
at cobrashop.co.za. All you need to do is email them your name, your surname, and how things work. And they'll put up a lucky draw, 2 memberships up for grabs.
That's
and
awesome.
Some of these goodies.
Yep.
And next week, what's happening next week? Next week we are reviewing the Kawasaki ZH2. And let me tell you that I've never been on a more powerful motorcycle in my life.
Yeah, no, look, I mean, good luck to you guys. I enjoy my motorbikes, but I mean, thankfully you guys left me out of that one.
And then one very, very special guest, Vainant from King Price, is joining us, and we've got a nice big announcement.
I can't wait. Looking forward to that.
All right, guys, that's it from us at Let's Talk Automotive. We'll be back here, same time, same place next week. Have a good one.
Keep safe on the roads.